Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's me, War Rabbit, and today we're going to be going over some tournament lists from the weekend like I normally do. As you know, I come from a cow-leaning expertise, I guess. I wouldn't call myself a hyper-competitive player, but I like to look at their lists and kind of draw from that in my own skill set. This weekend we had some pretty large tournaments. There's a good chunk of 50-player tournaments that we're going to go over. I think there was one triple-digit tournament. Let's see. I most likely looked at it. Or at least we're getting close to almost 74s, 75s. We had a good chunk of Road to Nova practice tournaments that seemed pretty cool. So they're getting ready for Nova. But yeah, the first tournament we're going to is the Boise Cup. It was a 74-player tournament, and the person we're looking at today is Connor Jacobson. He came 13th. He went 4-1 out of 74 players. That's pretty good for 13th. And his list was something I have been moving away from, but looking at it, he took experimental prototype cadre, which is something I wouldn't have done because I've kind of been generally thinking, crisis suits or just general battle suit 6 inches isn't good enough. But actually looking at the list, I can see where he's coming from. So the first one's Cold Star. He's got, I believe, it's triple fusion and a shield generator with the Fusion Blades enhancement. Fusion Blades enhancement just gives you, I think, 2 las cannon shots basically, with Melt of 4 on one single fusion blaster. So you have a total of 3 normal fusion blaster shots. Sorry, 2 normal fusion blaster shots and 2 enhanced, and you can still take the shield generator on a Cold Star that gives assault. And he's slamming dunking that into a crisis team, obviously. Then you got the Cold Star, another Cold Star commander. This time he's a plasma accelerator. It just gives you a bigger Thunderhammer shot. I think it's 25 points or 20 points. I don't like it. He'd probably just had 20 points to spend. It's like, yeah, fuck it, just put it on the Cold Star. And then thermoneutronic projector and an enforcer with 4 flamers. He's get 1 super flamer, and then in this attachment, you actually can re-roll the random number of hits, so it's actually pretty decent. Additionally, you can throw +1 strength AP on these things, and you get the base flamers go to strength 5. The thermoneutronic projector, I think, goes like strength 6 or 7. Let's double check. Sorry, I was brainstorming because there's a sisters list that we're going to be looking at today, and I was just kind of looking at the difference between a castigator and the thing that they took. Let's see, it should be strength 6, and then with the thermoneutronic. Yep, strength 6, and then if you get the experimental munitions, it goes to strength 7. So it is quite a big bump, in my opinion. And he's got 4 flamers, so that's your anti-infantry. And realistically, even in you could probably do quite well with just a sheer number of shots and high AP value from a flamer with they get no cover. So auto hits kind of ignore a lot of the Death Guard. They have some shenanigans in Mortarian's hammer where they just you get a minus to hit, you get a minus to hit, and all that. So that helps alleviate some of the issues when you throw that onto auto hitting and then they don't get cover because of marker lights. It looks like he took shield drones on all of them, so he's probably got a marker light on his crisis teams. Dark Strider, and a Devilfish. They're most likely have a Pathfinder squad to put Dark Strider in, and then they put him in the Devilfish. That gives you don't even have to put the Pathfinders in the Devilfish because it gives shenanigans for when you put Dark Strider in there by himself. I forget the exact maneuver, but it's something to do with Dark Strider's abilities. You can just put the Devilfish forward, and then you don't need to have the Pathfinders in there. Double broadside is just good in general, especially with the weapon support system. When you're going up against like Chaos Knights or even just Death Guard, like I was saying, the Mortarian's hammer type of deal, where if they say, okay, well, now your broadside's -1 to hit, well, he has the weapon support system. He doesn't care. It's also really good. Broadsides are actually quite good into like things like Needle Vortex Beasts and Magnus the Red, Thousand Suns, any mortal wounds, because they do have that 4-up feel no pain in Immortals. So they become quite hard to shift with that 2-up armor, especially if you can get them in cover. They aren't necessarily huge. They're 60mm bases, but they still are vehicles, so they have the vehicle situation. But it does work. Heavy rail rifles are, I think it's like 2 las cannon shots. So they think of them think about kind of like slower Iron Strider Ballistari. Here are your fire knives. Let's see, 1 marker drone, and then double gun drone, and only 3 shield drones. So they're going to be, I think, 5 wounds. I think that's just a way to keep bringing down smaller. But I think all of them are going to have roughly the same, same loadout, double gun drone, 1 marker, 3 shield drones. Double gun drones just there. That lets you, if you don't have a cold star, I think what was it? It's the fire knives don't have the cold star. The gun drones allow you to still mark even if you advance, so that's important. Let's keep going. Yeah, star sights, they're just good anti-horde clear. In experimental weapons cadre, because that extra 6 inches, same thing with the Sunforge. I like crisis suits better in this detachment just because like you get 9-inch melta, and especially on this guy, because like kind of the 3 crisis suits are just the vehicles to protect. They're just ablative wounds that could shoot for your commanders, because like these fusion blades, if they hit a tank, are gonna chunk. They're gonna do d6 plus 4. You got 2 shots. It's pretty big. Thermoneutronic projector, if they shoot at an infantry, or even a if this enforcer gets into range, 18-inch range, and he starts melting face into like a Terminator squad, you throw them on their 4-ups, and I think it's damage 2, right? It's damage 2 flamer. Let's see. Yep, damage 2 flamer, AP 1, and you get it up to with the strength and stuff. So you get a strength 7, AP 2 damage flamer, and you have the ablative wounds plus the actual additional flamer shots. It's definitely it's a fun detachment. It's definitely not as good as the other ones, but I definitely like the way he's doing this. I think crisis suits they're just not good, but finding a way to bring them even like this, because I was not going to expect a list that brings 3 crisis teams with commanders to go 4-1, especially at a larger tournament like this. And the triple pathfinders, he has no infantry outside of this, and the pathfinders, you have iron rifles. That extra 6 inches, it doesn't really matter too much to the pathfinders. They're just there to go forward, scout move, and then take it over. Then you got double piranhas. These are really useful. They're basically the scout sentinel of the Tau. Double seeker missile, that just makes them a huge threat. And then a piranha fusion blaster, still 18-inch fusion blaster. So you're getting that juicy 9-inch melta, which, especially on a move 14 model like this, that makes your melta threat range. Pardon me if it's 23 inches if that's your melta range. So it's hard, especially with how small the model is. It's hard to prevent you from getting that melta fusion blaster. Skyrays, they're your actual anti-tank outside of the Sunforge, and then the Seekers, they just throw up, and you got smart missiles. There you have, it's a 36-inch range smart missiles. I think smart missiles are 30. Just plink them out. The Seeker missile rack is just good into tanks. You're gonna melt them. Then he's got double stealth suits because you need that. And then what I like a lot, I've been seeing some more lists doing this. Normally you just play 1 Vespid, but 2 Vespid is kind of nice because you can put them in different areas and score better and get additional points through like the board control secondaries and whatnot. So that could be pretty fun. Yeah, this is a surprise list that I think I like the Pathfinder's gravimeter drone and marker drone. I don't know why he took a marker drone, because Pathfinders have marker lights, right? Do they have marker? I'm not crazy. Pathfinders on their own have marker lights, right? Where is it? Sorry guys, I have to know. They have marker lights, so I don't know why he took marker drones on them. They don't have assault on their pulse carbines, so you need a gun drone if you want to advance them to keep marking. So he took a marker drone and the grav inhibitor, which is here. You don't need to take the pulse accelerator because you just automatically have that from your detachment. So you could theoretically, if the pulse accelerator, treat these as like 2-shot. Your pulse carbines technically in this with the pulse accelerator drone become like fire warrior pulse rifles. So there's something that can be said there. But yeah, I don't know why he took marker drone, because you can't, and you get Oh, you only get one of either. You don't. Oh gosh, he took the grav inhibitor, and I guess maybe it was like a mispost. Maybe it was supposed to be gun drone because it's supposed to be a gun drone because you can't advance. Maybe hold up. Does the grenade launcher have? Nope, no assault. So you need to have gun drones on that. That's a little bit of a mistake there. Unless I don't think the ion rifles have. But no, okay. Yeah, you need to have assault. Otherwise, you can't mark and advance at the same time. Now, mind you, maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you only want to walk them 6 inches every turn. But like if you need them to go somewhere and still mark, you need to have gun drones. It's kind of one of the reasons why like fire knives and stuff. Why you're always going to see gun drones on crisis teams if they don't have a cold star in them, because it's the only way they can actually do anything outside of advancing. So it's just one of those weird things Tau have. And from my understanding, I don't believe you can mark after advancing because it's an action or whatever. I could be horribly wrong, but that's the way I've been playing it. So maybe if I'm wrong about that, please put that in the comment section and enlighten me. That's the way I've been playing it. Yeah, this is a fun list. I'm just surprised to see crisis teams do well. Like obviously crisis teams are okay, but like is six melta guns 150 points? You know, I'm pretty sure the eradicators, let's see, how much is a Space Marine eradicator, right? Mind you, this isn't a perfect 1-to-1 because I'm pretty sure the eradicators are a little cheaper. Come on, load. Well, we're just gonna have to take my word for it because for some reason, oh, there we go, right? It's loaded. 100 points for 3, and you get 1 shot. So you get 3 shots at 100 points, and hold on, I think you get 1 multi-melta. Yep, and you get a multi-melta. So you get 4 shots, roughly the same, and you get heavy. So you can get they can hit on 2s, and they got total obliteration, which is the same thing as Sunforge. So it's like and they're strength 6, 3 wounds, and with a 3-up save instead of strength toughness 5. So I don't know if really they should be this expensive. I could probably like star sights. Are they like they have star sights have to be 110 points because breachers are 100, and because breachers need to be 100 points because otherwise people get mad about the devilfish spam. If they're not 110 points and they're drop down to 100, there's no reason to really take breachers outside of like objective clear, because like at that point I think star sights are just better than breachers because you get that extra AP from star. Holy shit, I forgot. Star sights gives you additional AP. Yeah, the star sight squad with that thermoneutronic projector is nuts. That is a very, very strong unit. I completely forgot about that. But yeah, if you were slamming your keyboard saying, hey, star sights also give you that extra AP, right? I always got to double check because like I remember the rules, and then I remember about like the last second, and then I'm like, dang, I forgot that. Let's see. Yep, each time if it's something that improve AP by 1. So if you're targeting Terminators, you get AP2, strength 5 flamers, D6. You get 6 of them plus the thermoneutronic because it's the squad, right? And then and yep, in this unit. So when you attach a leader, that so yeah, that's going to be a very beefy thermoneutronic projector. Yeah, it's a very fun list. Congratulations to Connor Jacobson. You've made a fun list, and I like it. And I think getting, I think it was 13th at a 74 person tournament. And like obviously you got there's an Emperor Children player. That's good for him. Because this weekend we saw a little bit of an upset compared to previous weekends. So now we're going over to one of the Road to Novas. This one's Heart of War. I don't know what this one's saying. I don't have the whole thing. Winner was Mark Hurdle. If you know him, he's a really good Deathwatch player. I think he won a really big tournament with Deathwatch or something else. So we have a 3-2. He definitely did Space Marines. We have a 3-2 Brad Voorhees per type program. I'm pretty sure that is a Tau-based community. Shout out to them if that's the case. I could be horribly wrong. 3-2, 18th place. I believe it's a 50-person tournament. Yeah, 57, 18. That's pretty good. Another crisis-centered list, I think I could call it that. This time, he's doing Auxiliary Cadre. Auxiliary Cadre and Experimental Prototype Cadre both have been, in my eyes, fallen to the wayside It's like, why would I want to take auxiliary cadre when Kroot hunting pack exists and gives better buffs to the better units? But I like this list. I don't think the list is super amazing, but I like it. Obviously it did okay. 3 and 2 is nothing to scoff at, especially top 20 in a 50, you know, you did better than 50% of the players there. But yeah, so start off with the list. Commander Farsight, he is in the list solely so that you can get a lot of the, because auxiliary cadre has all of its command point stratagems or 1 command point, so you can just always do Commander Farsight 1 command point strats. And I don't know if you double up on the same strat with Farsight. I do not remember. I'm pretty sure you can't. Let's see. Yep, once per battle round he just gets the free strat. Yeah, he's not the double up. But yeah, he does that. You throw him into something, he gives the +1 to wound, right? It's a wound, or yeah, a 1 to wound if they're within 9. So you can't deep strike with the 1 to wound and say like Montcaw can. Sorry, not Montcaw, the retaliation cadre, the crisis suit focus list. But you can throw him into something like a Star Size Squad. Now you might be thinking, well, why didn't you throw him into the Sunforge? Well, because you have that the Enforcer. I think you could probably run the Enforcer in the Star Size Squad, and that could be pretty interesting. But the Sunforge, if you throw in an Enforcer in the Sunforge, oh, they don't have. He's just going all damage. They don't have a marker zone, so you're not gonna try to mark with the Sunforge squad. Okay, so he's just saying no matter what, they're gonna be. You don't want to have that extra marker. But yeah, you throw the Commander Enforcer into the Sunforge because he's got the 3 fusion blasters, and so that's 6 fusion blasters in total. No, hold up. Sorry, that's 9 fusion blasters in total. That's a lot. That's a lot of fusion attacks, especially with one of them potentially hitting on 2s. -1 AP commander is just good. Like you shoot them with an AP1 stuff, they keep on that 2 up. If they're in cover, you basically can't shift them past you get them onto their full. They don't have an invuln other than the actual commander, and you don't put them past like a 4 up save with pretty much anything other than melt the weapons. Commander Farsight, you throw them in the Starsight squad. Auxiliary cadre has a very interesting thing with flamers, where if they're within range, they get that of a Kroot or a Vespid squad, they get that +1 AP, and then with the +1 to wound from Farsight, you get the strength 4 flamers plus some of the other strategies. Let's see, what's the stratagem name? I forget what it's called. Where are you? Oh gosh, army rules, auxiliary cadre. They have a few things. You get the +1 to wound, and then you throw on. You can reroll a wound roll of 1, but you have stealth teams, so that's just kind of a fallback. And then you get the interlocking maneuvers. They can just move around the board. Here you go. And you get guided fire. So if you are wholly within 9 of a Kroot or a Vespid, you get strength 6, AP1, 1 damage flamers on your star sights. And you think, oh well, that's pretty good. So you effectively wound everything in the game on 4s. Right, and then the only things that aren't your wounding on 4s are strength 12s on a flamer with 1 AP. So that's something to think about. And you're wounding, what is it? You're wounding anything below strength, toughness 6 on 2s. So these are some pretty beefy boys, especially within 9, and that's where you get that normal move 6 to get that 9-inch. You rapid ingress them for free because it's Commander Farsight. I'm pretty sure you can do that. And then you do the 6-inch move on your turn after you rapid ingress. You get within 9, and then you just gun them down. And then you kind of jump back with the jump, shoot, jump in the fight phase with interlocking maneuvers. So you can kind of pull back away from there. Kroot Carnivores, they're just your screen. They're moving up the board. You can't shoot them with their daisy chained to a crisis team. Kroot Farstalkers, they have infiltrate instead of scout, so they pop up on the board. Kroot Rampagers, they're the actual damage dealer outside of the Sunforge, outside of the 2 crisis teams. These guys are just going to keep your opponent honest with melee threats. It's like, okay, cool, you're going to charge my crisis team. If they live, I'm going to pull back, and then these guys are going to run into your face and just run you down. The grenade stratagem is built for these guys. There's only 3 of them instead of 3 6-mans. 3 6-mans are really only good in Kroot hunting pack. I can see doing 6-mans in this, 18 of these, but you know, it's 100 and what is that, 70 points per. So there's a lot you're gonna lose there. A single Krootox rider, you kind of just throw him in the back. You can have him walk up the board with like Pathfinders or something, and he can't be shot, and then he gives covering fire to like the Kroot. So if you shoot the Kroot and the Kroot die, or take any, if you shoot at him, you just throw the Krootox rider, you get auto cannon shots and return fire, so it's okay. Pathfinder team, they're gonna just be there to guide until they die. Gun drone and a marker drone. No grav inhibitor. Grav inhibitor I like a lot more than just gun drone, but if he's playing fast and loose, you have the gun drone and the marker drone. Why are they taking marker drones? They have the marker light keyword. I didn't even double, like I said, I gotta check if they have the marker light keyword. They should. They're Pathfinders. Pathfinders just have you. They just innately have the marker light keyword. I wonder why people keep taking marker drones on Pathfinders. I just take something else, like a gun drone and like a grav inhibitor, and that's okay. Maybe I'm missing something, or maybe they just don't care. Maybe they actually have like a grav inhibitor instead of the marker drone, but that might just be me. And then you have 4 piranhas, so 2-man. 2-man's better for command point efficiency, and then you have 2 piranhas alone. They just run up the board because like these, you have the 2, you keep the 2 in the back, and then you have them jump forward when the AP guys are out, and then you use the other 2 to flush things out, pull things out of position, bait, throw them on boards, because like piranhas are, you throw them on the center objective, they are pretty good at what they're doing. Triple Skyray is probably the actual real what's it called, backbone of the list, because you can get their smart missiles to be AP1 while ignoring cover, and that's actually really good. You can get them, they're always going to be on ballistic skill 4, because just the way if you mark, you guide them with like the Pathfinders, crisis suits, you name it, and you get the marker drone, and then they get the ignores cover. These guys in auxiliary cadre, those smart missiles are strength 5 or 4. I think they're like pretty much all shooting for like the Tau base guys tend to be, the Tau guys are all strength 5 or above. Yep, and you get 2 of them, strength 5, indirect. Oh, they're not twin linked. Huh. Okay. So yeah, just 6 strength, 6 shot, strength 5, AP1. It's not super amazing, but it's just enough to keep your opponent honest. And then you got triple stealth suits. I don't know how I feel triple stealth suits. After watching Morty and Glory's list and seeing his breakdown of the game, I think I lean towards 2 6-mans rather than 3 3-mans, because 1, the stealth suit team's a bigger footprint and they're more annoying to deal with. And then I see another marker drone. Do stealth suits have marker light? Hold up, let's see. Nope. Okay, so you actually need to take marker drone for stealth teams. So I always forget like the random nitpicky keywords, like, oh yeah, I play Tau a lot, and I forget that, you know, stealth teams don't have marker light, but I only ever take marker drones. And then double Vespid and auxiliary cadre, unlike the previous list, this actually makes a lot more sense. And when I say that, I mean like the double Vespid isn't good, but they're fast, and their whole purpose is to either drop them in the opponent's backfield and just take something, or have them run up the board really quickly, throw out that 1 AP aura, because they have like a 27-inch threat range or something like that if you advance them. And you do that, you throw it out, you can keep them protected from shooting, because most people don't want to get that 18-inch lone op, because if you're within 18 inches of something to shoot, you're also within range of the Krootox Rampagers advancing and charging into you. So yeah, they are just one of those special things where you throw them on the board. It's like, okay, whatever I'm targeting with this AP, I don't even think they need to have, excuse me, I'm just like going nuts. I don't even think they need to have, you need to have line of sight to get the AP, but the things being nearby don't need line of sight. So they can be behind a wall and like move blocking behind a wall, and then generating that minus the extra AP aura. So it's a very interesting thing. I'm surprised to see it do quote unquote so well. Like 3 and 2 isn't like they didn't win the tournament, but they did. You know, this is like a Nova Open prep tournament, and he did pretty well. So it's a golden ticket event. So if the guy that won the tournament gets a golden ticket, I think the next one's going to be the same thing. It's got another Road to Nova tournament. It's a golden ticket event. But yeah, this is interesting. I just like, unlike the previous list, I think I like the Farsight Enforcer. I just can't, like, the commanders are good. Like, Farsight's 95 points. Why is Shadow Sun 100 and Farsight's 95? And like Farsight has just so much more utility. Jokes aside, like a commander is 80 points while the team itself is 110, and he provides like over a third of the firepower, you know, if he's playing his cards right, type of deal. So it's just I don't know. I don't know what they do, because like, as I said, you can't reduce the crisis team's points, otherwise they start just objectively becoming the best things in the codex. So like, they just got to rework the rules somehow, or just accept it. Because like, why would I take I'd rather just take a breacher team and a devilfish than just worry about star scythes. But like, this specific combo I think works better than breachers and what they're affected, because like, this flamer squad isn't trying to just melt face. It's trying to pick off the Death Shroud that are like protected by Mortarians, like the Mortarian hammer. Oops, you're all affected by -1 to hit or -1 AP, or that's why you have the Enforcer going into the Sunforge to give them a better chance, and then you have Farsight with the +1 to wound within 9. So you kind of, and then you have like the counter charge from Farsight to make his melee attacks do better. It's just one of those things. So yeah, moving on. Things to be a first non-Tau list. This is the Liberty Open Road to Nova. I believe this one was a 70-person tournament, 39. So it's a little bit of a smaller tournament. But who did we grab from this list? Oh yeah, so it is Ken Edwards. What list did he get? This was not the first Tau. I'm sorry. He went 3 and 5. He came in 11th at a 39-person tournament. Wasn't as big as the Heart of War Road to Nova. It is a gold ticket event, so there is a good chunk of people. So this is more of like your standard good stuff. I just kind of wanted to talk about Tau good stuff. I wanted to talk about one specific thing in this list, and it's her. She's way too expensive. I cannot see Shadow Sun staying 100 points. I definitely think she should go down to 90. I could even see 80 points. I do not think Shadow Sun, as of now, is better than an Enforcer commander. You know, like, it's like, oh, well, they have different roles. And it's like, she has a conditional 5-up. So let's actually just look at the data sheet. She has a conditional 5-up command point generation, while other choices in the codex are just better, right? So you have to be within 6. Sorry, you have to have the command link. You have to be within 6 of it. When they use a stratagem, you have a chance of 5+. Now, it doesn't say it's only once per turn like Farsight, but Farsight's guaranteed -1 AP. Command point. On Shadow Sun, it's conditional if you're lucky. You could. Farsight's guaranteed 1 command point back. Shadow Sun is, you could have your entire army within 6 inches of her, dropping command point after command. You could spend like, effectively, like in a hypothetical situation, you could spend like 10 command points and not get a single one back. Mind you, that's almost impossible to do, but it's hypothetical. The next thing is, her aura of reroll 1 went from being one of the best auras in the codex, the only aura and the best aura in the codex, to it's kind of meh now because of the way For the Greater Good works. So like the one thing she wanted to do was have that aura for like the Town Aura, the Storm Surge, to make them a little better. But now with the change to For the Greater Good, she just does not have what she needs anymore. It's like, okay, you have, what was it, two high. Yeah, you got 2 strength, you got 2 Meltas. That's cool. Okay. An Enforcer commander has 3 with a shield. You get the 3-up invuln, so and then you get a flechette launcher. Okay. Doesn't even have indirect. I'm just saying, doesn't even have indirect. Like, this should just be an AFP with indirect. It's strength 3, AP 0. Like, why do I care about this? And then and then you have a 0 AP missile pod. Like, it's only 2 shots. Like, The only thing that matters about her is this, and then like she has like a diet chainsword profile. Like she's got a weapon skill 3, strength 5, AP 0. Sorry, weapon skill 4, 3 attack. So it's like, is she worth 100 points when like Farsight, as we already know, is just objectively better, in my opinion? Like, yeah, she has infiltrators and she has lone op, so that's always good. But Farsight has deep strike. He's got a 2-up save with a 4-up invul instead of the, I believe, the 3-up, 5-up of Shadow Sun. I should probably just have the data sheet like this. Where are you? Where are you, ma'am? Come here, friend. But yeah, he's got a 2-up versus the 3-up, 5-up. Yep. He doesn't have stealth, which is the -1 to hit, so that does make her a little better there. But like most armies now are just getting this, they're using a ton of flamers, and like if she just like, oh yeah, I've moved 10, which is amazing. It's a great movement value, right? But that she's only got 6 wounds and a 3-up, 4-up. The like 1,000 sun flamers will just melt her in a few seconds. She doesn't give like add 1 to the wound roll. Like that's such a good. This isn't add 1 to the string. This is wound. Like, this is the way of the short blade is just one of the best ways to make your crisis suits punch up into stuff they shouldn't be able to. And Shadow Sun doesn't do that anymore. It used to be like, okay, well, now the Town R doesn't need to really. You still get the benefits of the stealth team without guiding the Town R or the Storm Surge or whatnot. But now it's like with the way for the greater good works now, that if you target one thing with the stealth team, your whole army gets it. Now it's just she's okay. You still have to be within 6. So it's like, I don't know, man. She maybe if it was like, I could see 100 points with full rerolls to hit, and that could be like that's your counter punch. Like, oh yeah, like just the aura fully within 6, you get that type of deal. But I don't know. It's just her damage profile isn't as good as Farsight's. Mind you, Farsight's profile like isn't that good. This should be a rapid fire like 2, plasma rifle or something like that, but it's not. So that was the main thing about this list. The rest of it's just kind of Tau good stuff. You got the Breacher team, you got a Ghost Keel. You're using that because you're in Kalyun. You get Hall of Mirrors. Kalyun gives you sustain, so like yeah, she gets a little more damage in turn 3. She's most likely going to make it to turn 3. You leave her on your home field objective. You have her sit with like I don't know, like you can put her in the midfield with the Ghost Keel or something. Because like what are you gonna? The Riptide and the Ghost Keels are like these are the main punch of the list. This is like just the standard Tau good stuff. Instead of he did triple Riptide, double Skyray, single Hammerhead for like true anti-tank, and you got the Ghost Keel in the front. You throw him on the center of the field. Ghost Keels don't really die. Same with the Riptides. You got your stealth teams, and then you got a Vespid Stingwing in the back. It's just your standard Tau good stuff. It was just mainly I wanted to talk about Shadow Sun and how I think she's just way overcosted right now for what she does, just because there's other things in the codex that do her job better. Because like, why would I want to spend 100 points to get a chance to get 1 free command point back when I can just get 50 points and get an ethereal, like for the same price, right, of her. Well, used to be when these are 60 points, you used to be able to get an ethereal and a stealth team for 110. Now it's 140 because they're 50 points. Yeah, I can math, guys. Just give me a second. But yeah, for like 140 points now, 40 points more, I get the same thing for her that she gets with the stealth team and an ethereal that does everything she does just better. But and Kalyun's just nice because she gets Hall of Mirror. She can move around and do stuff. Like yeah, does she even have marker light? Does she even have marker light? No, she doesn't. She's not even a good spotter. She can spot, yeah, but she definitely should have marker light. I don't know why she doesn't, because this isn't like she should definitely have marker light for 100 points. Yeah, it's just is what it is. Yeah, Shadow Sun used to be okay. Now she's kind of fallen to the wayside. She works. I think she's still like people will think, oh, she's giving reroll 1s to hits. She's still a high priority target and overextend because of that, but just not something. Yeah, the list did okay. What was it? It was 3 and 2. That's okay. Smaller tournament, so not as a bigger field, but the Piranhas, I like the Piranhas. They're always good. And then it's just basic Tau good stuff with Kalyun durability, and just hope you can win, because you're screening basically with the Riptides and the Piranhas to protect everything else, and then you just lose the stealth teams, and then that's kind of it. So I guess that's where that Shadow Sun kind of is like, once you lose the stealth teams, you have like the fallback of Shadow Sun. But I think you could just keep the, like, once by the time you're turn 3, it is what it is. But yeah, so it's moving on. We are on the Dark Sphere GT. This one I definitely believe. Yep, we are looking at Kian Tan's list from Team Uwu. Okay, 5-0. This was a 50, 60, almost 60 player tournament, 59 player tournament. So they did pretty well. So that's with Sororitas. So this was kind of like the kind of the dark horse that came out this week. I think it was Adeptus Sororitas and Gene Stealer Cult that did really well this weekend, and they actually chunked well into Knights. But this list kind of, I don't know if it was if you see this little guy right here, it might have been the list is Adeptus Sororitas, but there was a special someone that you could probably guess already who was in it. So Demonifuge, they are just lone op idiots that can run around and do things. Junith Rita, command point generator. I'm pretty sure in this list she's solo. I could be wrong. Morgan Vol, she goes in Paragon war suits. You got a Canoness. You put them into a Battle Sister squad, and then you throw in with the Dialogus, and that Battle Sister squad does some things. Palatine with Suffering Through Strength, they do a ton. Is Paladine, if they take any form, if you don't kill a Palatine in like one round, and they get a chance to swing back, they're going to do a lot of damage in the clapback. It's like strength, it's like almost damage for Power Sword if they take any form of damage, so it's kind of nuts. Same example on one of the Canonesses, when they go down, they generate was it D3 Miracle Dice, and then you can pop a command point to make them stand back up and then die again, and they get you D3 more command points. Miracle Dice. Battle Sister Squad, it's just a standard Battle Sister Squad, multi-melta with a melta gun. You get 2x10 Arcos and a 3 Arco. They're just your melee sweepers. They do a lot of damage. Celestian Sacrosanct, they are kind of your backbone of the list with the Paragon Warsuits. Warval goes here. Palatine goes here. You got the Immolator to separate the Battle Sisters. From my knowledge, I could be wrong. Just let me know in the comments if you're a Sisters player. You can separate the Battle Sisters into 2 5-lady squads and then put 1 Canoness into each. I could be wrong. But that's the only way I can kind of like work this out in my head, because they already have Junith floating on her own, and if you can't do that, you also have a Canoness walking on foot, so just by themselves. So I could be wrong. Just let me know in the comments. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. Then you got a Rhino to put the Sacrosanct in with the Palatine, and they just run up the board. Then you got Calidus Assassin. Calidus Assassin, she's just a good model. She has a lot of stuff. The Reign of Confusion aura, making command point cost more, stuff like that. And then she's got Uppy Downy, which is just amazing for any army. Just having a Uppy Downy lone op character is just really good. And then the big boy, who is the heart of the list, Canis Rex. He is just, everyone that's played Knights knows Canis Rex is just way too good. He should not be 380 points. You got to think about it this way. When you're a Sisters of Battle player, what's better, Canis Rex or 2 Castigators? And it's kind of obvious that Canis Rex is better than 2 Castigators. And I say, oh, well, is he better than 3 Well, 3 Castigators is 480 points, and he's 100 points cheaper. And so basically, you can get a Calidus Assassin and a Canis Rex for the price of 3 Castigators. So why would I not want to take Canis Rex and a Calidus Assassin over just 3 Castigators? Yeah, he's just good. He's just really good. He gets legendary free blade, so he's just always once per turn. He can just target this guy with stratagem, and he just reduces it by 1, so he gets just free abilities. Chainbreaker is really good. That sustained hit on his multi-laser, and his Las Impulsor is kind of nuts. The Las Impulsor is the main thing. The fact that the thing has sustained hits 1, and you get crits on 5s, and you get D6 plus blast, that thing goes from D6, so that's a min 1, say, but you're not rolling that, you're getting a 4 on average, but like always say min 1, because that's just how I always roll. Yeah, 4 attacks, you get 5, so you get additional, so you're averaging 3 attacks through, and you're wounding pretty much everything in the game on a 2 or a 3, and then you just AP 3-4 damage on that shooting. That's the best you can hope for. Paragon Warrior, so most of it's just Hollow Martyrs good stuff, and then you just got to make room for Canis Rex. Sisters of Battle, they're trying to ration their units out at you. That's just their play style. So if you are dealing with something like that, especially as a tile player, ration, because you also are rationing the units out at them. but they can throw a Canis Rex in, and Canis Rex is much better than a Storm Surge. So we can't really do the same. And then they get the bonuses, the Callous Assassin. I would kill as a Tau player for an equivalent of a Callous Assassin. We just don't get it. So the next tournament is going to be, I believe it's a Tyranid list. Let's see. It is a Tyranid. It's Karlatukia. I believe this is from the Brave New Hive World Grand Tournament from RopeCon. I believe this is in the Netherlands. Yep, Netherlands or some other Scandinavian country, because these look like Scandinavian names. He went 5-0. He didn't get first, but he got top 3 with 5-0 undefeated. And I believe it was a 50-man tournament. Let's see. 76, almost 100 players. So yeah, he went undefeated in a 76-man tournament. Could be a she. I'm just gonna go with they, because that's better. So this one was actually a fun list. I looked at it, and just a Vanguard Onslaught list, and you're like, oh well, why not just run what's it called? Subterranean Assault. Well, this list is pretty character heavy. You got Death Leaper as your warlord. He's just the Death Leaper in Vanguard Onslaught, so he's got a ton of stuff. Brood Lords go into your Gene Stealers, and you got these new guys. I haven't seen people running them, but this is a very fun situation. So you got 3 hyper adaptive Raveners, because they got Vanguard Organism. And you throw those in Raveners, which also got Vanguard Organism, and they get a lot of buffs in this detachment through stratagems, and they could have fun with that. So the one thing, though, that I don't know how this plays out. From my understanding of the rule, Stalker, it gives the Ravener, you pick some stuff, and the Ravener Prime gets benefits, but it says the Bearer, so I'm assuming the Bearer is the Ravener Prime, and the 4 hyper-adapted Raveners in addition to him don't get the benefits, but I could be wrong. So let's I'll just show you what I mean. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure Stalker, it gives like reroll 1s to hit and wound for the Bearer against enemies. Let's take a look. Let's go Vanguard Onslaught, Simulation Swarm, Vanguard Onslaught. Here we go. So Stalker, each time the Bearer, you add 1 to the hit and wound roll. From my understanding, that's just the prime, because I don't know how these types of bearers work for multi-model character units. So I assume it's just the prime, but it could, if it's the whole unit, even better. If it's the whole 4-man, getting fallback and charge and advance and charge is really good. So this is kind of just like a rush list with the Ravener spam, which is really interesting. And then you got the Winged Hive Tyrant. He just rolls up and smacks thing in a Winged Pair and a prime for the kind of a backbone warrior secondary line attack. You got a Lictor and Neurolictor. They're just Vanguard Onslaught, good save. Same with the 5 Gene Stealers with the melee rush, and then a Biovore in the backfield to shoot. And then you got 3x5 Raveners that get slotted into these guys, and they just run forward. So if we go to back over here, so yeah, they just do surprise assault, battle shock. So you do this. You get the +1, add 1 to the wound if they fail a battle shock, which you can do through the shooting phase. But I don't outside of shooting or a fight phase. But you kind of, is it the phase or the turn? Yep, you get to add 1 to the hit roll, and if they fail the battle shock, yeah, until the phase. Yep. So you just target, and then you slow roll it or whatever. You get the surprise assault, and you do that. The main thing about this is the seated broods. You get 2 turn 1 deep strike 9-inch charges from your Raveners, and I believe if you fail, Raveners have the pickup and they can just move away, if I remember correctly. Let's look at this. Yep, at the end of your opponent's turn. Okay, so they actually have to survive a round of combat, a round of shooting and stuff. But yeah, you could uppy downy them, and they are just they are ridiculous. Yeah, this list is pretty fun. You get the Invisible Hunter, you know. Hold up, remove target of the place. Yep. You can uppy downy one of them. You can uppy downy your Lictor and stuff like that. And you can grab both your Lictors, throw them up with this. So there's just a lot of movement in this list. That's fun. And uppy downies obviously throw them into deep strike and deep strike them again the next turn. Yeah, it's just a fun melee rush list coming out of these guys, coming out of Tyranids. You don't think about it, obviously, because they tend to have just better, like the subterranean assault, or where are you? The invasion fleet tends to just be better. But yeah, the shadow of the warp type of deal with a melee rush army, it's pretty nice flavor. The brood lords just do brood lord things. They just run up and smack things with their gene stealers, and the gene stealers will rip apart pretty much anything if they get into combat with them. Yeah, I as a Tau player, this type of list scares me because my whole thing is currently I think Kroot hunting pack is the best, and like these melee rush lists are designed to crush the type of list I like. If you did the recon element, all guard units, right, fighting into this list, you just get stomped. Like there's just so much anti-infantry mass attacks that will just pick up everything. Like, okay, cool, you got flamers, I'm T5. You know, I'm T5 Raveners. They're the same toughness as a crisis suit, you know, with the same with the slightly worse save, you know. And they're how much are these guys? 120. Okay, so they're 125 for 5. So they're not cheap by any means. But yeah, this is a scary list, especially if they're, because of the way the meta's kind of turning, is that Knights and Death Guard are just so prevalent, and like one of the main ways to deal with them right now is just flood the board, right? And the problem is that if you go first against that while you're flooding the board, they have a good chance of keeping up, and it becomes a really close game. But that's why you see Knights, they're teching into double Gatling cannons, like 2 big Knights and double Gatling cannons, because you need to be able to, the Knights need to be able to take them out. Death Guard don't really need to tech too much because the Death Shroud and just everything else they have already has a good amount of anti-infantry clear. And you just see these armies, like you go over to the Deadpus Aretus army, like you got double 2x10 Arcoflagellants, and you see world leaders topping lists in some of these tournaments. Where is it? You get like Death Guard, Chaos Knights, okay, but you're seeing like Gene Stealer Cult. Gene Stealer Cult has a ton of models on the board that you just get, that you have to fight through. Same thing over here, Death Watch. All these guys that are popping out, they're just turning into, they're kind of getting bigger on the models. Like world leaders right here. This list, if I remember correctly, is just a melee rush type of deal with some decent shooting in the backfield with their stuff. But like this list specifically is like, if you brought that guard recon element or the full Kroot hunting pack, all the Kroot, nothing else, you just get stomped. I don't see how you beat this list, because they just run you down. And especially like Knights, like clearly it does well in the Knights because it's not losing. let's double check the let's double check who he went up against. What was this list? Is this Knights? Oh, he stomped a poor Moncaw guy. This is a cool list, but he got destroyed. Space Marine. So yeah, I'm trying to find if he went up against Knights. I want to see how he dealt with Knights if he did. Oh, is this? Oh, that's the World Leader. So he went up against another, you know, melee rush army and he beat it. So clearly there's some teeth to this, especially because you got the Death Weeper and stuff like that. They do a lot. Orcs. Oh, did he not go up against any of the big? Oh no, he did go up against the standard. Well, he went to Champions of Contagion. Yeah, he went up against the standard Death Guard. So that, he's got a Knight Discipline. Dude, screw this guy. God. Oh my God. It's like, what's better than Death Guard and Knights? What if you put them in the same list? So yeah, they clearly can go up against the big Knights and crush them, because you have that Winged Hive Tyrant and they can do some damage. Same with the Ravener, especially if you got that one to wound and hit. I assume Stalker goes for just the Ravener Prime, not the whole unit though. But yeah, it's a very interesting list. We got some big tournaments coming up the next couple of weeks. I think it's halfway through the current balance pass. It might be another week or so, and we're gonna see either Games Workshop doing an emergency balance patch for Death Guard, which probably like Death Guard and Knights. I think that'll be okay. But now after this weekend, I'm kind of like, either people the Knights players and Death Guard players are submarining a bit, but they're all taking like the same list, and it's just because that's just the best lists. And these other factions are super teching. Like Knights don't really like fighting other Knights, when they're having to tech into anti-infantry clear, and now they have like 2 big knights doing nothing while the other big knight has anti-knight weaponry and stuff like that. So it's a game of, I guess, Pokemon at that point, you know, or like rock paper scissors, where they're just like, oh, your weakness is, I'm gonna spam your weakness and you're gonna lose. And sometimes you throw paper and they hit you with the scissors. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I try to get one of these videos out every week, so if you want to see more of it, hit the subscribe button. If you like the content, really do appreciate it if you hit the like button. And again, I have a few rules questions that I presented in the video. If you want to leave a comment about that in the comment section, explain to me something, or if you one of the people on this list. But yeah, as always, congratulations to everyone that did well in these tournaments and everyone that I showed on the video. You all doing great. You know, I'm not going to large tournaments, but you guys are, and you guys are doing pretty well. So as always, thank you all very much for watching. Have a great day.